Okay, hello all. Now we'll discuss the removal of judges of a high court. Okay, so a judge of a high court can be removed from his office by an order of the president. Okay, right. So the president can issue the removal order only after an address by the parliament has been presented to him in the same session for such removal. That means it is not the discretionary power of the president. The president can remove the judge of a high court only after he is presented with an order passed by the parliament with respect to the removal of a judge of a high court. Okay, and the address must be supported, or the order given by the parliament for the removal of the judge must be supported by a special majority of each house of the parliament. So what type of majority? Special majority. Here special majority means majority of the total membership of that house and or plus majority of not less than 2/3 of the members of the house present and voting. Okay. There are two things here under special majority. One is majority of the total membership of that house. If it is Lok Sabha, the majority of the total members of Lok Sabha. Okay, if it is Raj Sabha, the majority of the total members of the Raj Sabha, right? Okay, plus 2/3 of the members present and voting. So this is the special majority. Okay, right. And what are the grounds of removal? The grounds of removal are two. Okay, and these grounds are as same as the grounds of removal of judge of a Supreme Court. Okay, they are proved misbehavior or incapacity. Okay, so thus a judge of a high court can be removed in the same manner and on the same grounds as a judge of the Supreme Court. Right. So we already discussed how the judge of a Supreme Court is removed by the Judges Enquiry Act 1968, which was passed by the Parliament. That means there are some provisions which are constitutionally mentioned with respect to the removal of the judges. Okay, and there are some provisions which are given by the Parliament through Judges Enquiry Act for the removal of the judges of the High Court as well as the Supreme Court. Okay, so the Judges Enquiry Act 1968 regulates the procedure relating to the removal of a judge of a high court by the process of impeachment. Please remember this. What is the name of the process through which the judges are removed? Impeachment. Okay, now? Right. Now, we will try to discuss what are the provisions which are mentioned under Judges Enquiry Act with respect to the removal of a judge. Okay. So, a removal motion should be signed by 100 members in case of Lok Sabha or 50 members in case of the Rajya Sabha is to be given to the speaker if it is Lok Sabha and chairman if it is Rajya Sabha. That means if the members of the parliament want to introduce the removal motion of a judge in the Lok Sabha, so before submitting that motion to the speaker, at least 100 members have to give their assent with respect to the introduction of that motion. If it is Rajya Sabha, 50 members. Okay. Okay, right. And the speaker or chairman may admit the motion or refuse to admit it. That means it is the discretionary power of the speaker, if it is Lok Sabha, or the chairman, if it is Rajya Sabha, whether to accept the removal motion which is signed by 100 members if it is Lok Sabha and 50 members if it is Rajya Sabha. Okay, right? So if a speaker or chairman accepts the motion, then speaker or chairman will constitute a 3-member committee to investigate into the charges. Right? Then who are those 3 members? One of the members is a Chief Justice or a judge of the Supreme Court, a Chief Justice of a High Court and a distinguished jurist. Okay, these three members will comprise the committee constituted by the speaker or chairman to look into the or to examine the removal order of a judge. Okay, so if the committee finds the judge to be guilty of misbehavior or suffering from an incapacity, the house can take up the consideration of the motion. Okay, then after the motion is passed by each house of the parliament by a special majority, as I discussed a few minutes back, an address is presented to the president for removal of the judge. So dear students, if you observe this process is very long, and of course it is very difficult and it is an hectic task. Yes or no? So this process shows that it is very difficult to remove the judge of a Supreme Court or an High Court. Okay, so this in turn ensures the independence of the judiciary. If the removal process of a judge is very difficult, then definitely the judge will perform his or her duties without fear or favor. Okay, so that means this act of Judges Enquiry Act 1968 strengthens the independence of the judiciary, because the removal process of a judge is very difficult. Okay, and finally the president passes an order removing the judge. Okay, so from the above it is clear that the procedure for the impeachment of a judge of a High Court is the same as that of a judge of the Supreme Court. Okay, and it is interesting to know that no judge of a High Court has been impeached so far. Okay, right. So dear students, I hope you understood how the judges of a High Court are removed. Okay, in simple words, the procedure for the removal of judges of a High Court is as same as the procedure for the removal of a judges of a Supreme Court. Okay, now we will discuss the concept called transfer of judges. So how judges are transformed, how judges are transferred, how the judges of a High Court are transferred. Okay, so the president can transfer a judge from one High Court to another after consulting the Chief Justice of India. Okay, so on transfer he is entitled to receive, in addition to his salary, such compensatory allowances as may be determined by the Parliament. Okay, so to transfer a judge, who is empowered to transfer a judge? President of India is empowered to transfer a judge. However, before transferring a judge, he has to consult the Chief Justice of India. Right? So in 1977, the Supreme Court ruled that transfer of High Court judges could be resorted to only as an exceptional measure and only in public interest and not by the way of punishment. That means the president who is empowered to transfer the judge has to use that power in the public interest. Okay, am I clear? And of course in 1994 the Supreme Court held that judicial review, very important, judicial review is necessary to check the arbitrariness in transfer of judges. Okay, but only the judge who is transferred can challenge it. That means only the affected judge who is transferred can appeal to the court to look into the matters regarding on what basis he is transferred. Okay, right. In the third judge case, the Supreme Court opined that in case of the transfer of a High Court judges, the Chief Justice of India should consult, in addition to the collegium of 4 senior-most judges of the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice of the 2 High Courts. Am I making sense? One from which the judge is being transferred and the other receiving him. Am I clear? That means CJI is consulted by the President of India while transferring the judge from one High Court to another High Court. However, the CJI should consult the collegium of 4 senior-most judges plus the Chief Justices of the concerned High Courts. Am I clear? So thus, the sole opinion of the Chief Justice of India does not constitute the consultation process. Am I making sense? So did you understand the process of transfer of judges? Right. Now we will look into the acting chief justice. Okay, same provision is there for Supreme Court as well, right? So the president can appoint a judge of a high court as an acting chief justice of the high court. That means only the judge of a high court can be appointed as a acting chief justice of the high court. So when acting chief justice of a high court is required, when the office of the chief justice of the high court is vacant, or the chief justice of the high court is temporarily absent, or the chief justice of the high court is unable to perform the duties of his office. Am I clear? Okay. On these three grounds, the president can appoint the judge of a high court as an acting chief justice, right? Now, the additional and acting judges. Okay. So, the president can appoint a duly qualified persons as additional judges of a high court for a temporary period not exceeding 2 years. That means, for the tenure of 2 years, the president can appoint a duly qualified person. What is the meaning of the duly qualified person? As I mentioned earlier, the qualifications of a person to be appointed as a judge of a high court, okay, they are called duly qualified. Okay, right. So the president can appoint duly qualified persons as additional judges of a high court for a temporary period not exceeding 2 years. Okay, when he can appoint the additional judge? When he feels that there is a temporary increase in the business of the high court, or there are arrears of work in the high court, that means pending works, right? So the president can also appoint a duly qualified person as an acting judge of a high court. Here we have seen the acting chief justice. Here we are observing acting judge. Okay. So when a judge of that high court is unable to perform the duties of his office due to absence or any other reason, or appointed to act temporarily as a chief justice of that high court. Am I making sense? So, an acting judge holds office until the permanent judge resumes his office. Okay, whereas in case of additional judge, his tenure is 2 years. In case of additional judge, the tenure is fixed 2 years. In case of acting judge, holds office until the permanent judge resumes his office. Very, very important thing. Please understand this minor difference. Okay, additional judge will be in office only for 2 years. Acting judge will be in office until the permanent judge resumes his office. Am I clear? Okay. However, both the additional or acting judge cannot hold offices after attaining the age of 62 years. That means 62 years is the maximum age, maximum retirement age for the judges of a high court. Okay. Now, have a look into retired judges. So, at any time, the chief justice of a high court of a state can request a retired judge of that high court, not another high court. Okay. Of course, or any other high court as well. Okay. Don't get confused. At any time, the chief justice of a high court of a state can request the retired judge of that high court or any other high court to act as a judge of the high court of that state for a temporary period. Okay. So he can do so only with the previous consent of the president and also the previous, and also of the person to be so appointed. That means the consent of the president as well as the consent of the person to be appointed as a judge of a high court should be consulted before his appointment. Okay. So such a judge is entitled to such allowances as the president may determine. He will also enjoy all the jurisdictions, powers and privileges of a judge of that high court, but he will not otherwise be deemed to be a judge of that high court. That means he won't be called, or he won't be given the designation as the judge of a high court because he is a retired person. Am I clear? Right. So in this way, the acting chief justices and additional and acting judges and retired judges are appointed. Okay. So in the next video, we will discuss the independence of the high court. Okay. And also why independence is necessary for a high court to perform its functions. Thank you.